Hi, I'm Alex, and I just thought I'd do a quick pickup video, which I have not done in a really long time, so this might be kind of lame, but I don't care. I got some really cool VHS tapes today. I was driving in my semi truck, and I saw a Goodwill that I could, in theory, pull over and go take a look at. And anytime I have a chance to pull over somewhere I can't normally get to, something fun to do, or somewhere fun to eat, I try and do that. So I did that, and I'm glad I did because this Goodwill had a lot of cool old VHS tapes, which I always like to get, of things that just have cool art, cool covers, or just movies that are iconic that I love, or anything like that. So I just want to go over a few with you very quickly. Um, I have an original, it looks original to me, Return of the Jedi, that is pre George Lucas effing with things. Although I really don't like what they did. I don't think it was the thrift store because they weren't all like this. You can't really tell, but there's tape that goes all up this cardboard art. So I'm really going to have to very lovingly take that off later. But other than that, it's in fantastic shape. Really cool looking cover artwork for Return of the Jedi. Next, this you never really cared to get the VHS tapes that have the bar that say like, oh, it's a re-release or like classics collection or whatever. Usually, but I actually really like the cover of this one. It's Return of the Dragon with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, and not the worst artwork, but it's cool to have both of them on the cover going at it. That's fun. That is the best. I will save that for last. That's supposed to be at the bottom of the pile. A really, really good comedy, and as soon as I told my wife I got this, she was super stoked to watch it. And then we got into an argument about what's better, physical media or digital media, but that doesn't matter right now. It's here, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Great, fantastic comedy movie from back in the day, where Richard Pryor, I believe, is blind, and Gene Wilder's deaf. But together they kind of make one competent person, and they get mixed up in this whole situation. Really funny. Anyways, moving on. Next one, I don't know anything about Doctor Who, but I've been wanting to get into it. But there's so much to it that it's like really intimidating to get into that fandom and to look into that sort of stuff. But I thought it was really cool. I found it's a VHS tape, Destiny of the Daleks, starring Tom Baker. It's a Doctor Who tape. Again, with the tape all over the cardboard and everything. I'm going to have to do some surgery with like a heat gun to try and get that off without hurting the art or anything. But some really cool stuff. I don't know anything if this is one of the good doctors or whatever that people like or dislike or what year this was. In fact, let's see here. 1979. So an older one. That's cool. That's always fun. Something iconic and old. That's right up my alley. So that's literally the first Doctor Who thing I've ever owned in my life. But it was neat. Next up, a really cool one. A movie that, as a kid, scared the crap out of me. I only saw parts of it. And then would run out of the room and go do something else less scary. But it's Tremors. And as an adult, I have like that memory in the back of my head of the idea of what the movie's about. So I like have been wanting to go back and watch it as an adult where I can like handle it. And it's probably gonna make people laugh because I don't necessarily think it's that crazy scary or anything like that of a movie, but it's tense and thriller kind of thing where it's sort of a survival movie, and I love stuff like that. Also, Kevin Bacon, again with the collector's choice, but not so bad because the cover's not that bad on that one. Next up, a very, very beat up and loved and written all over. I prefer, whenever I get Disney movies, I would prefer to have a cardboard sleeve than I would to have a clamshell case, the like plastic ones that everyone knows for Disney movies. I would rather have the cardboard ones because it's uniform on a shelf. Those plastic cases tend to like crumple and get gross, and you basically have to have like a different shelf for those than you do your regular movies and VHS tapes because they just don't look good next to each other or whatever, in my opinion. I don't know, I feel weird about it. But anyway, so I was happy to get this. I actually haven't fully seen this one either. Again, another thing I saw in pieces as a child for different reasons. But 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I actually read the book as a kid, loved it. It's great, and that is one of the books that got me into reading in general. But classic looking film for sure. This next one, these next two were very impulse buys of like, that looks weird and neat, but also if it's terrible, it's okay because it'll look cool on a shelf kind of thing. Because the artwork, sometimes the artwork sells it me on these things, and it's like, if I was scrolling through Netflix, I would never stop on this movie, but the box is cool or whatever X Factor thing is going on. And that's Windwalker. And I don't know if you can get a good view of this. I'll try. But it's got kind of like an Indian guy on a horse who's looking very, very spiritual on there. I don't know what this movie's about. I have not read anything about it. I didn't even read the back. So we're going to see what happens there. But it's got sort of a 80s looking vibe to it. Let's see what the year is on this bad boy. If we can find it quickly. And 1980. Perfect. You got a good eye for that stuff. Okay. Next up, I don't usually go necessarily for John Wayne stuff either, but this was a mix of the box is cool, the name of the movie's cool, the subject matter was different for John Wayne, as far as I'm aware, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with John Wayne. Love John Wayne, but there's just a lot of man is cowboy riding around or whatever, so I tend not to grab it when I see it. Although I do eventually want to see all his movies because I like John Wayne. But this was Blood Alley. And it's the cover has like a dragon going on, and obviously there's the woman, and there's some sort of espionage shenanigans going on. I love the movies that look, I'm trying to work with the reflection here. Can't see that very well. But this kind of side to a VHS tape. I really like the Warner Brothers would do this a lot, and they're the one I mainly think of, but the reflections mess with me. But it'll tell you in a very tiny bar on the top what kind of movie it is, like the section you would put it in like a rental store kind of thing. And I have a few of these of like the original release of certain things. I believe these were original releases and not re-releases. But they look really good. They do a good job with the side art and everything for these movies. Anyway, so it kind of checked a lot of boxes for me for just a rando movie that might suck or be weird or whatever. But it's iconic because it's John Wayne, and like I said, the subject matter is very different for him. Like I said, you think cowboy with John Wayne, but with this, they're talking about being in Asia and all these different things and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what, I found myself like doing the gonna put it back, gonna take it, gonna put it back, but I want it, back and forth, and eventually I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw it in the batch. And actually, speaking of which, before I show you the last regular tape, that's my favorite thing that I got, almost all of these, I think literally only 3 of what I have didn't fall into the category of this. But just to show you an example, let's see, that's not the right one. But like Blood Alley, the Goodwill has the color stickers. Like, I only got orange and green this time. I don't know if you can see very well. But if you have the particular color of the week or whatever, it's discounted. And at this store, it was 50% off of everything that had orange stickers. And I didn't realize it until I got to the counter that movies and DVDs and VHS tapes and games and all that kind of stuff counted with that and had those kind of stickers on it, which my Goodwill doesn't do that for those for whatever reason. But this one did, and so I think 7 of my movies of 9, I believe, were only 50 cents as compared to $1 for the other ones. So it was even better. So it was like, once I found that out, it was just like, all right, well, just grab everything that looks interesting. Not that $1 is that much money, but I'm cheap. Anyways, so the final regular VHS tape, my favorite one that I got, hands down, is what I've been looking for. King Kong versus Godzilla. So cool. And yes, it's a little bit beat up and loved on. It's in good enough condition, that it looks good on a shelf, and isn't gross to have in your hands. And the tape itself looks fine. The artwork's neat. I love the back of it, actually, probably more than the front of it. It's got a very, like, kids 90s tape thing going on for it, but super awesome. This movie may not be the best of, Godzilla movies, but it's super iconic, and it was one of those things where the idea carried it in the back of Godzilla fans' minds for so long that however many years later, I don't want to do math right now in my head, we finally, people demanded it so much to do Godzilla and King Kong in the same movie again that we finally got the current one, which is absolutely, hands down, my favorite kaiju movie of all time. I'm not very well versed in those kinds of movies. I've only seen, a handful to 10 of those kinds of things, but so far that has absolutely taken the cake, the modern day King Kong versus Godzilla. So for me, this is like one of those movies that usually I have them displayed sideways because it's more about watching the movies for me. And yes, I will obviously pick a nice cover thing up to look at, and I like that about these things, but I do actually want to watch these things. This is a movie, however, that is absolutely going to be displayed face front for everyone to see because it's so cool and iconic. So it's definitely awesome for me. And then I definitely should have saved that for last because I realized I have one more thing that's kind of dumb. But I've been watching a lot of videos of other VHS collectors lately, and something I didn't really notice or pay attention to or care that much about, and really didn't encounter much at all anyways, was big box VHS tapes where it's just a bigger, weird, somewhat standard size for larger VHS tapes. It's like a special edition or something trying to grab your attention or whatever. And for whatever reason, and I don't not like this movie, it's a great movie, but you're going to find millions of copies of this everywhere because everyone had this movie. It was a big box version of Shrek on VHS, and just to show you, it is a VHS case. They're just filling space up top and on the side for no reason other than just to take up more space to get your attention. It is a special edition video cassette, whatever the hell that means. I don't know what special things you get. All new extended ending. Okay, there's an extended ending. But just for scale, so you can see the difference, it's hard to notice on video for sure. But here's King Kong next to that, which is regular size, next to Shrek. Quite a bit bigger. And again, just takes up more space and looks neat. And this is the sort of thing that I would happily trade somebody for something else neat just because they like to collect that sort of thing. Or it'll sit on my shelf and be just some weird oddity that's there. But I don't hate it. I love Shrek the movie anyways, and that was big in my childhood. But anyways, so that's it for this time. Definitely a nice little haul of cool little VHS tapes of all different kinds. And for very cheap, I think total, also buying a drink in their little cooler was like $8, which is totally great. I think I got 9 movies if I can count. If I can't, let me know. So thank you so much for watching, all the 5 people who are going to see this, and I'll see you next time.